Good evening. In previous session, we have seen the concept of reloading of the module. Now, in today's session, first let us discuss about module search. That means if I want to search for any module, where our Python interpreter is going to search. Let us see with an examples. So, first case, while we are going to import a module, already we have seen how to import a module. We have seen the examples in previous session. So Python looks in several places. It is going to look in many places like first it will check in inbuilts. Interpreter first looks in what? Inbuilts. After that, or we can say it as a built-ins. Next, it is going to check in the some places. Those are first one in current working directory, current directory. Second one, it is having some Python path. Okay, there it is going to check Python path in environment variable. Next one, it is dependent on installation dependent default directory. While installing, if you are going to place any default directory, it is going to check in that default directory. So now let us check. I will create one module and I want to access some of the functions from that module. How it is going to be accessed, let us see with an examples. Before that, first we have to understand what. First it is going to check in built-ins. After that, it is going to come back to our current working directory. Later it will check in remaining other paths. When it will go to current directory, if it is not present in built-ins module, it will go to current directory. If it is not present in current directory, it will go to Python path. If it is not going to present in Python path, it will go to installation dependent default directory. Okay. Now, first let us see what is meant by built-ins. Already in basics, I have discussed about this built-ins concept. Let us show you once again what is meant by built-ins. So to see the built-ins of our Python, we have to import a module called as built-ins. So to see all the contents of built-ins, I have to use dir of built-ins. Okay, see, these are all the built-in types which are available in the Python for any programming. That means, for example, here I am directly writing print of hi. So I am not going to import anything to execute print, but it is going to print hi. How it is going, from where it is going to get its definition? From the built-ins. Okay, see, if you observe here, int is a data type. Okay, and input is for inputting the data, id for getting the address of something, some object. Next, hexadecimal to convert anything to hexadecimal. So some functions and some properties are available by default for any Python program. If you are not going to import these built-ins also, by default these are available for any program. So that first, if you are going to write anything, that is, for example, I am going to write a small method, that is id. Okay, first I will write a equal to 10. I am going to write, and after that I want to convert that 10 into binary, so that I am going to use bin of a. So if I am going to execute this statement, we are going to get some output, that is 0b1010. It is nothing but the binary equivalent of 10. So first it will check where? By your Python interpreter will check for this binary function in built-ins module. So first it will go to where? Built-ins module, and check whether there is any bin or not. So here if you see, bin will be there here somewhere. So let us check whether there is bin or not. So see, here bin is there, so that it will execute this function. If something what I have written in my program, if it is not present in inbuilts, then it will go to current working directory, and later it will go to the paths that are provided for the Python. Okay, in this way the order is going to be there. First it is going to check in where? Built-ins. So these are the here whatever we are going to see are called as what? Built-ins. So I have shown you one example. Print is belonging to these built-ins, and also if we can consider this bin is belonging to built-ins. So everything whatever we here we have written are belonging to a module called as built-ins. If you want to use anything from the built-ins, no need of writing import module. Just why here I am using import built-ins means to show that what are the things that are present in built-ins. So without importing these built-ins also, we can use all these properties of your built-ins or all these functions and classes of your built-ins module. Okay, right. Now I want to see what are the paths that are available for my Python interpreter. That means what are the paths that are available in my system for Python. So for that I am having one module, that is sys module is there, import sys. So sys is a module, so that if I want to see the path, I am going to use sys.path. So it is going to show me different type of paths I am having. So if you observe here, first is empty is there. Why it is empty? Because where I am working, I'm not working in any particular location. That means current working directory is not there now, so that it is going to show empty. That means current module is not there, so that it is showing what? Empty. These are all what? These are all the paths that are related to our Python program. So first it will check where? First it will check in built-ins. After that it will come to current working directory. So in this, at this particular location, I am not having any current working directory, so that we are going to get what? Empty. So in remaining all what? These are all the paths where our Python interpreter will check for the modules. Okay. Now, just I want to take the same sys.path in one program and let us check. So just I am going to write. So here I am going to write import sys. Okay. Here I want to print sys.path. So just I want to save this one in some example.py. So observe the output. See, here you can find one more thing. That is what? C users, some name is there and desktop is there. Why here it is not given that path, and why here it is going to give that path? Reason is, if I am going to execute this program, from where I am going to execute this program is present in desktop. If you observe this one, it is present in where? Desktop. So that it will give that address also. If this address is not available for the interpreter, it cannot execute. So it will consider the current working directory also as a path. So first it will check in this path, first it will check in built-ins. So in built-ins, if it is not there, it will come to what? Current working directory. Later in remaining paths, it will check for our program to execute. Okay, this is about path. Why your interpreter requires the path? Because it wants to execute something, some module. It wants to execute some module. So if that module is somewhere else, how your interpreter knows? So how your interpreter checks? First one, it will check in where? Built-ins. After that, it will check in current working directory. According to my program, if I execute this one, observe this one. When I am going to press F5 here, what happens? Here you can observe some address. See, this is my current working directory now. Okay, so that it is going to present here. If I change my current working directory, then automatically here the address also will be changed. For example, I want to show you the same program in this. That means I want to store same file, this file in desktop, for example. Okay, I have stored that. Now I will execute that program. Observe that. One minute. Here it has not saved. Just I will close the file and I will show you. Okay. Now I will open that file ex. Here we are having some ex. I will open this. Right. Now observe this. Here if I execute this program, now the address will be changed. The path will be changed. See here. C user Sauji Ammu desktop. One more desktop is given here. Reason is my current working directory is what? Where my module is present inside, sorry, on the desktop. One folder is there named as desktop. In that my module is there, so that it is going to be considered as current working directory. After that only it will check for remaining other paths. Right. Now if I want to execute, in yesterday's class I have shown you what I have created two different modules, and from one module I have accessed some of the functions of other module. Now if, let us consider in yesterday's class what I have taken, first one in the desktop, on the desktop, and second one is also on the desktop. I have taken module 1 and module 2 and I executed the program. So as those two modules are present on the same directory, it is going to execute. But now my concept is I want to create one new folder, and that is new directory. Here let us take the directory name is Shiva. I am going to write. In this I will write one small program. Let us take simple. I will place this simple inside this module. Let us see what simple contains. So simple is going to contain different okay, let us write one small function here. Right here, just I will write one small function, define some function. I'm going to print some hi, print of hi. I'm going to write. So this is my function that is present inside what I want to store it inside a Shiva folder. Just I want to save it some s.py, for example. Right, completed. Now where this folder is, where this module is present inside a Shiva folder which is present on desktop. Now observe, I am going to create one more file on the one more module on the desktop. Just I will save it. So let us save it as a test.py. On desktop I am going to save. Right, now see, in this what I am going to write means I want to access the function of a module called as s.py. Where is s.py? S.py is present inside a Shiva folder. Okay, inside a Shiva folder s.py is present. Okay, now where my current module is present directly on the desktop. Now I want to access the function that is present inside a module called as, that is what, s.py, which is present inside, what is that name, the folder name, the directory name is Shiva. Observe these ones. So here inside Shiva what I am having s.py, and here if you consider my program, here my program is on desktop. One is on desktop, another one is inside a Shiva directory. Now I want to access the file which is present inside a Shiva from desktop. That means from this file. Observe carefully how to write it. From where I want to access, from a directory called as Shiva. From Shiva dot s. The name is what? S. File name is S. So that I have written what? S. What you want to import? I want to import all. That means what? All the functions that are present inside a Shiva folder in S module, I am going to import to my program. Now all are available in my program. Just I will call what? The function name is func, I think. So just I will call func, so that I am going to get output as what? Hi. So in this way, I can access the functions of a module which are present in another directory, which is not in my current directory, which is in another directory. So once again, I will show you the case. So see here in test, from test, I want to access a function which is present in s.py, and that s.py is not present in the current working directory. What is my current working directory here? Current working directory is desktop. Where your s is present, inside a Shiva folder. So that I am going to access, how I am going to access it? Shiva dot, yes, I am going from Shiva dot s, I am going to import what? All the functions that are present inside a yes. Okay, so that I can access that hi function in my program. Right, this is the path and how to access the functions of another module which is present in a different directory. Now I want to show you one function, that is direct dir function. Okay, already I have shown you with small example of built-ins. Once again I want to discuss in detail. The function name is dir. Right, dir is a function. Why we are going to use this function means to find all the members, that are defined inside a module. So this is a important function which is going to give what? It is going to find all the members, or it is going to give you all the members of the module which is present inside a module. So just I will take an empty dir. For example, dir empty I am going to write. So what it is going to give? It is going to give something called as what? Built-ins doc file loader name package specifications and func. Why it is going to give these type of things means, now currently where I am, observe carefully, currently where I am, my current working directory is what? C users, some name Sauji Ammu is there, desktop test.py. I am in test.py. So that my current working directory is what? This one. So what are the things that are present in test.py is going to be reflected here. Okay, right. Now observe the case. If I want to take some module and I want to find out all the members of that module, just here what I have taken only empty. So it is giving me the things that are present inside this current working directory, current working module. What is that module? Test.py. Let us see what is there in test.py now. So what is there? There's just a func is there. So that is going to be printed here, func. Now I will write a program which contains some members, and I want to apply dir on that module. Let us take a equal to 10, b equal to 20, and someone function define f1, and in this function just I am going to take print hi. And next I want to take one more function, for example define f2, and here I want to print hello, for example. So see, hello is printed here. Now observe here, I want to save this program on my desktop. So this is what example.py I am going to take. Now see, here in this module what we are having, a and b are two variables, and f1 and f2 are two functions I am having. If I print, observe carefully, if I print dir here, what happens? Where currently I am inside a module called as example.py. What are the members that are present in my module? First one is A, second one is B, third one is F1, and fourth one is F2. So now I will execute this program so that you can understand what is the output. So observe, don't worry about annotations, built-ins, doc, file loader and all these things. Just observe the things A, B and F1 and F2. Why I am not going to discuss about these annotations, built-ins, doc, file loader, name and package means, reason is by default our Python interpreter is going to provide these type of special variables for every program. So to execute every program we require some additional properties, additional functions, so that those are going to be added to my program. It may be any program. If you observe this one, annotations, built-ins, doc, file, loader, name, package, and specifications. Okay, remaining is what? Remaining are members of the module where I am going to use dir. So here dir used where? In current working directory, that is what test dot in current module, that is what test.py. Now what is my current module? Example.py. In example.py, what we are having? 4 members. One is A, next one is B, next one is F1, and next one is F2. So in the same way, I will execute the program from here. So my current working directory is what? CD space desktop. Now here I want to execute a Python program. So I want to apply, observe carefully, I am applying what? dir. See here carefully what is going to be happen. So what happens? Here if I apply dir, it is not going to give me any members, because I am not going to use this dir inside any module. Just generally I am going to use dir. dir means general things that are applicable for every module, those are going to be printed here. That is what? Annotations, built-ins, doc, loader, name, package, and specifications. Okay, these are all the things that are going to be print if I am going to use dir empty. So if I am going to use this dir inside any particular module, so all these things are same for every module. So these things are going to be printed, and also the members of that particular module is going to be printed. Okay, now what this dir is doing mainly, it is going to list out all members of current module. Why here it is not listing any current module? What is here current module? Is there any module that is representing here? No, by default these are all the things that are present without any module in my Python. If I am going to write any module, then it will give you all these general special variables, and also it is going to give me the members of that particular module. Now I don't want to write, observe the case here. 1 minute. Okay, here I have written dir inside a program, so that it is going to give the members of this module. But I am somewhere else, I am outside. Outside means what? I am on the desktop now. I want to find out the members of, some ex.py. That means here I have to give what? I have to give a module name. So I am taking one module name as what? Ex. So I want to find out the members of that ex. So if I type here in this way, let us see what happens. Will it give any members or not? So it's saying that ex is not there. Let us see. 1 minute. So ex is not present in the desktop. Let us take test. Okay, I will take test. Now observe the thing. Here also it is not defined. 1 minute. Here already it is there. I am on the desktop. Let us try once. dir of. Let us try in single quotes. That is test. Yes, we are going to get it. See here, we are going to get many different members. We got it. Let us see why these many numbers are printed here. So observe carefully. I have given what? Test. So here add class contains, these are all things are that are printed. Reason is, observe carefully. Here test is not, it is not going to consider test as a module. I have given what? Single quotes. Single quotes means it is going to consider as what? It is going to consider it as a string. So that is going to give all related members of that particular string. Is space, is title, is numeric, is lower, is identifier. Already we have seen all these things. L strip, okay, lower, is upper, is title, all these things we have seen inside a string class whenever we are discussing about str. Okay, so now let us see how to access this. From here I will access. Let us write here dir of test. I will try now. So test is not defined. Okay, just I want to import that one because test is not available here. So I want to import that. Just I will import a test here and I will ask what are the members of that test. Yes, now it is available. So now what it is going to give me? It is going to give the members of that test module, that is what function. Once again, I am repeating the same concept. If you want to get or if you want to know the members of any module, then I have to use what? dir of that particular module. Where I am now, I am in other module, that is what? Example.py. From this module, I want to know the members of test. Where is test? It is separate module. So I don't know what is present inside a test. So I'm going to use what? Import test. Whenever I am saying import test, whatever the members that are present inside a test module will be available for my module. So if I write dir test, what happens here? We are going to get the members of that test. If we are going to remove this one, for example, what happens? I don't know what is meant by test. If you are writing test here, how your interpreter can understand? So that it is saying what? I don't know what is meant by test. That is what? Name test is not defined, right? So that what I have to include? Import test I have to include. So that what is going to be happen? All the members of test is going to be imported to my module. That means all those functions are available in my module now. So that if I ask dir dot of test, it is going to give the members. So dir is used for what? For getting the members of any particular module. So one important point I have to discuss here, you already seen that if you see the output of any program, here we are going to get what? For every module, while we are executing that, a Python interpreter is going to add some additional, or we can say it as a some special variables, we can say, or identifiers, we can say here. Those are built-in, cached, and document file loader, something it is going to give you. Among these, this one is somewhat important, so that I will discuss about this underscore underscore name underscore underscore. It is considered as what? Special variable. I am discussing about this special variable. So let us see what is the use of this underscore underscore name. This is a special variable underscore underscore name. So let us see what is the use of this underscore underscore name. So if you are going to consider any Python program, if you are going to consider any Python program, the special variable named as what? Underscore underscore name will be added internally and automatically it is going to be added, and I should know what this name is going to contain. Okay, for example, I will write here, just I have written already one program, just I want to see that what underscore underscore contain here. Underscore underscore name underscore underscore I am going to write. See, observe what we are going to get. It is going to give me one more special variable called as main. That means in this case, this name is containing what? Main function. Till now I didn't told, I have not discussed about the concept of main. Reason is when we go to the concept of constructors, at that time I will discuss about the main. For now, just I will give you a brief introduction about that main. So whatever the statements that are written inside a Python file, that is here directly, those are going to be considered as, those are present inside a main. So that from starting onwards the program is going to be executed. So these are going to be executed first, and next these are what? These are the functions. So these will not be executed now. So how we have to call this one? By using F1 and F2, then only these two will be executed. Other than the functions, if you are going to write anything in your program, then those are present inside a main. It will be considered inside a main. So that whenever I am going to write name here, it is going to consider as what? It is going to give me main. That means this name variable is going to store what? It is going to store the information regarding whether the program is executed as an individual program or as a module. So here, am I using any module here? Yes, I'm going to use what? Import test module. But here name contains what? Name is going to contain the main. Reason is I am going to execute the program here itself. If I'm going to execute some other module, then that module will be referred. I will show you the example. So see, once again, I'm repeating the concept. If the program executed as an individual program like this is an individual program. Okay. So what we are going to get as an output, that name is going to store another variable called as main. Okay, so we have seen the output. Now I'm going to next case. That case is if the program is going to execute it as a module. Now this is what I am executing, what individual I am executing this one, but this test is what in my module I am using test. If I am going to write name inside a test, let us see what is going to be happen, and I will show you. First, before going to that, I will explain that point. That is, if the program is executed as a module, this program is not executed as a module. What is the program name? Example.py is not executed as a module. It is just executed as an individual program, so that we are getting what name as a main. If I use the same program in any other, for example, this is what example, so that I will use the same name inside. Observe this here. Here I am going to write what import. I want to use here the name of that module, that is import example. I am going to use. Just I am going to remove all the statements. Just I want to use that. Right. I am saving this. Observe carefully. I am going to execute this one. So what is the output we are going to get here? It is going to import. Sorry, here already one more example is there. So because it is present inside what desktop, inside desktop we are having one more thing. So just I will remove this one. Okay, test.p, test.py I am having. Here I am going to write what import example. I am going to write, and I am going to save it, and I am going to execute. See, observe here, I am going to get what answer as example. How example is printed here? See, I have not done anything here. Directly it is going to be executed as an example. Reason is I want to show you the example file now. So see here, observe these two files now. If you observe these two files, first one is what? This one is this one is a file where I am importing this example. Inside this example, I am printing what name. That means who are executing this program. That is from test.py I am importing. So that name will be what? Example will be printed because it is present in example. If I am executing the same program within the module, that means as an individual program, if I am executing, then it will give you what main, because inside here only individual I am executing the program. Observe this, I got what main. So if you are going to use the module name, or if you are importing that module, and if you are using the underscore name, that is going to store what? It is going to store the file name. That is what module name. You are calling import example, so that it is going to store what is telling what name as example. Okay, right. This is about a concept of what? A special variable name. So just I will let a small program. Once again, I will let a small program so that you can understand clearly. So this is example.py. Here I am going to define one function. Define f1 I am going to write. Here if underscore name equal to main, then I want to print a statement, print of the code is executed as a program, as an individual program. Okay, when this is going to be executed, when this statement is going to be printed, if I execute this example.py individually, that means here if I execute this one, I'm going to get this as output. Else if I am going to use this module anywhere else, then I am going to get output as what? Whatever I'm going to write here, it is going to be printed. Else the code is executed as a module. Just I will write what? Code is executed as a module. I am going to write code is executed as a module. This is module. Okay, now observe the case. Just I will call here F1. If I call F1 function, just I will execute the program here itself. That means individually the program is going to be executed. 1 minute, somewhere the syntax is missed. Okay, equal to. So now observe the case. Name underscore not defined. 1 minute. Oh, sorry. Here I have to give it as in a single quotes. Okay, see here. What it is going to print? Code is executed as a individual name. That means what? I have executed the program here itself in the same file. So we are going to get what? The main as a name inside a name, and it is going to print what? Code is executed as an individual program. Now I am going to import. This is what example.py from test.py. So see, I have already imported. Now I am going to execute here. I am going to execute this file. That is what? Test.py. Observe that. So what is the output we got? Code is executed as a module. That means this file is example.py is going to execute it from other program, from other module. So that name will be what? Example. If I am going to execute within this file only, then I am going to get name as what? Main. Okay. This is about underscore underscore name underscore underscore. It will store two things. One is, if I am executing within the same file, we are going to get main as the name. And if you are going to import that, and if you are executing that particular module, we are going to get name as a example. If you want to see remaining other special variables also, let us see what it contains. Okay, here I will execute. What are the special variables we are having? See here. Just I will print it here so that you will get that dir. I am going to print it here. So right, I want to see what these built-in annotations is going to contain. Okay, so this just I will copy this one and I will print it in example. Okay, in test.py I will print. So print off, I will print this one. So I want to remove all this one. Just F I am going to print. See, it's going to give you what? Nothing, because annotations are not there here. Next, I want to print a built-ins. Now observe the case. Yes. Now see, it is going to give me what? Some built-ins object. It is going to give me what? Built-in module. Okay. Next, doc. I want to print doc. Observe this one carefully. Already we have seen this concept, so you will get clarity on this one if I print this one. Is there any doc string here? Not there. Now observe. Just I am going to write some. This is a program I am going to write. This is a program. Will I get anything here? Let us see whether we are getting anything or not. Yes, it is going to give me what? This is a program. That means what? This is treated as documentation string. Already I have discussed when I am discussing about comments, and also while I'm discussing about functions, also I have discussed about doc strings. So it's going to give me what? Documentation strings. Otherwise, shortly we can call it as a doc strings. So it is going to give me what? The content that the doc string that is present in this file or in this module. Next, I want to see file. File is going to give me what? Already we know where we are going to write a program, inside one file. So if I save this and if I write this one, it is going to give me what? Where I am. What is the file name? So what is the file name here? Test.py. Where it is present? In C user Saujiammu desktop. So you can observe the same address here. That means all these information about the module is going to be stored. Okay. Next, let us see about loader. Loader I want to show. So some variables will not give any correct information which we can understand. So loader may not give exact word that we can understand, because it is going to give some other inbuilt things. So no need of bothering about that one. So name already we know. Let us see the package. I want to see the package concept. Now it is going to give me what? Observe. it is going to give you none, because I'm not going to use any package here. Okay, so what is meant by package we will see in next session, don't worry. Next, SPEC. So it is also giving, I have not used any specifications, so that it is not giving anything, it is going to print as none. That means these special variables are going to store some data about the particular module. Okay, right. Now, till now what we have discussed? We have discussed about a concept of modules. Module means what? Module is going to store any Python statements. It may be individual statements, it may be a functions, or it may be a classes, or it may be anything. So group of functions or group of classes inside a single file is called as a module. So I have shown every Python file can be considered as a one module. Right. Till now I have discussed about a concept of module. Just for an example, I will take one module, that is a math module I will take, and I want to show you some of the functions. So why to take only math module means, generally we will use those functions from the math module. So this math module is generally used module, so that I am going to show you this math module only. So just I will take some functions from the math module and I will execute those things. So see, from which module I'm going to take functions? Math. So I can import math directly in this way, or if I want to use the names directly, how I have to write? From math, I want to get all the functions. So from math, import all, so that I have to write what? Star. Okay, from math, I want to import all the functions. So in math, many functions are there which are useful for mathematical operations, but I will show you only some of the important functions that are generally used. So generally what we will use, okay, I will directly go to this interactive shell, so that directly we can execute for every individual statement we can execute. So 1 minute. Right, here I'm going to execute. So I'm going to import what? From math import star. Okay, it is going to import all the functions. Just I want to show you square root, sqrt of square root of 16. What I got? 4.0. Why here it is going to give 4.0? Why it is not going to give 4? Reason is, internally your square root method is going to throw a floating point number. Why it is going to throw a floating point number means, if I give directly 16, already it is having a 4 direct, so that you may think that 4 is going to be answer. But if I write some 15, what is the square root of 15? It will be in the points, so that it is going to throw what? In the floating point number only. It's going to return what? In floating point number only. If you are going to see 9 or 16 or 25 or 36 or 49, direct values are there. That means round values are there. 7, 5, 6. In this way we are having. But some particular values are not having exact values. So in points they have to be represented. So that square root is going to return what? A floating point value. Next, I'm having some constants here. Okay, that constants are, let us write pi here. So pi means what? Already we have studied in our 10th class or 9th class. Pi means what? 3.14. We know that values. So already these are defined as a constants in our math module. So if I write pi, it is going to give me what? 3.14. If I am going to write some e, according to our math module, e is having some value, that is 2.71. Okay, to represent an infinity, I am having a variable called as inf. So inf indicates what? Infinity. In the same way, nan indicates not a number. Okay, that means some constants are there in our math module. I want to show that. So pi means some value, e means some value, inf means what? Internally it is going to represent as a infinity. Next, what is meant by nan? Not a number. To represent a not a number, I am having a variable called as nan. Right, now I want to show you some functions. Right, first function is ceil function. Ceil means what? Generally we will talk about ceiling. Ceiling means what? Which is top of our room, that means above us, is called as what? Ceiling. So if I write some 53.63, what is the above number of 53.63? It is nothing but 54. Ceiling, that is. If you are going to write floor, floor means what? It will be down, floor below us, so that it is going to give the value called as 53. The floor of 53.63 is what? Sorry, the ceiling of 53.63 is what? Above. That means after 53, what is the value? 54 is going to be given. What is meant by floor? Lower value. Okay, that is what 53.63 means. It is going to remove that 0.3 and it's going to give you 53 only. Now, if I want to find the power, that is, I want to find 4 power 3. I want to find the 4 power 3. So that if I use the power function, I get the value, that is 4 into 4 into 4. Okay. Next, if I want to find the factorial of any number directly, I am having a function called as factorial. I want to find factorial of 5. So that we got what? 120. So some for factorial in our C language or Java, we are going to write what? Some logic we are going to write, but here we are going to have some direct functions we are having. That is what factorial function I am having here. Next, I want to find the GCD of two numbers. Let us take some two numbers, 25 and 50. So if you are going to consider, that is what? 25. Reason is what? GCD means what? Greatest common divisor. So among 25 and 50, what is the greatest common divisor? It will be 25 automatically. Okay. Right. Next, truncation. For truncation, I am having trunk. Trunk of, observe the thing, I am going to have some values after decimal point, so that it will trunk all the values after decimal point. That means it is going to delete all the decimal points after the, sorry, after decimal point, whatever the values we are going to have, those are going to be removed. So if you write trunk of, if you are going to write trunk of only the value that is 50, what we are going to get? 50 only. There is nothing to truncate, so that we are going to get same value. Okay. In the same way, we are having the concept of sine, cos, and all those values are there. Sine 0, what is that? 0, we know that. Next, sine 90. So we know the sine 90 value as what? We know sine value 90 as 1. But exact value of sine 1 is 0.8939 and so on. But generally, we will talk it as a what? 1 only. But exact value is what? 0.89. In the same way, we can also find for cos of some 0 and cos of some 90. We can find anything, or cos 180. We can do anything here. In the same way, I can also have tan 0 or tan 1 or tan 2, tan 90, tan 45. We can have any type of values inside a tan, so that we are going to get some values. So math module is going to provide you what? It is going to provide mathematical functions. So whatever the operations we are going to perform in mathematical, those are going to be available in our math module. So directly, whenever if you want to perform any operation, directly I can come to the math module and I can use this type of functions for mathematical operations. So just I want to one more function I will discuss. FABS is one function. FABS. If I am going to give you some value, see, observe that it is not going to change anything. Reason is, if it is a positive value, it is not going to remove any sign. But if it is a negative value, just it is going to remove that value, sorry, remove that sign. That means what? It is not going to, it is going to remove the sign of the given value if it is negative. Let us take it as a positive. Observe that FABS, and if you write a positive value inside this one, what it will do? Generally plus 10.5 or 10.5 will be same, so that there is no different output we are going to get. Same output is going to be generated, but whenever we are going to give negative value, then what happens? It is going to be removed. Minus is going to be removed. So this is the concept of math module. We have seen some of the important functions of math module. So let us see one more module. Otherwise, okay, about this module only, if you want to see, let us see help of math. So 1 minute. Help of math I am going to write. So generally what it has to show means it has to give me all the functions of math module. 1 minute, I will see here. I will write here import math. I am going to write, I want to see help of math. So it is going to give me what? 265 lines of code is there. See here what it is going to give. So it's going to clearly, every function is going to give me. Observe that. So see, these are all the different functions we are going to have. Every function, whatever the operation, if we want to perform that is related to mathematical operations, we can go here. See here, gamma is there. Next one, GCD is there. Hypothesis is there. F-sum is there. Next, generally used is what? GCD, gamma, F-sum. Next, floor value we have seen, factorial we have seen, exponent, EXP. Next, cos we are going to see, ceiling, tan values, sine, cos, and many things are there. Many other things are there. Okay, just we have seen only important things. You can say general things that are available in math module we have seen. So if you want to see any module, let us say I want to talk about a random module. I am having a module called as random, so that I want to see what are the things, what are the functions that are available in random. So I will import random, and I want to use what? Help of random. I will write. So what it is going to give me? 615 lines it is going to give me. So if you want to see that, you can double click on that one and observe. There are different things are there. Some classes also available in a random module. Okay, these are all the classes. This is the content of the class. Next is what we are having functions. These are the functions. What are the functions? Choice, choices, and next we are having Gauss. Many other things are there. So in this, I will discuss only few functions that are related to us. That is random, random int. I will discuss about random range. After I'm explaining any one function, I will come back to here and I will see what it is going to define. Okay, right. First, let us see some examples from this random module also. So here I will take that. I want to take the random numbers. So just I will write a import statement for that random. From random, I want to import all the functions. Okay, so that I have imported. Now I want to generate a random numbers. Which random numbers? Floating point. So observe carefully. I in range of, if I write any two values, let us take here 5, and what I have to do, I want to print random here. So I am applying a function called as random. Observe carefully here. Here what happens means, if I apply a random, randomly the numbers are going to be printed, and which numbers are going to be printed? Floating point values that are in between 0 to 1, those are going to be printed. If I apply random function, what is the output of that one? It is going to print the values between 0 to 1. How many values it is going to print? What is the range here? 5. So 5 random variables in floating point number which are in between 0 to 5 are going to be printed. So let us see now what will be the output of this one. Okay, see, 5 values are printed here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so observe that it is going to print in the form of what? Floating point numbers. So if you want to generate a random number, a random floating point number in between 0 and 1, where we have to go? We have to use the function called as random. So let us see the definition of random. So random is what? It is going to give some x in the interval of 0 and 1. Okay, it is going to give what? Some x value in the interval of 0 and 1. Right. Next one, I want to generate a random number. That is what? Like integers. So I will take the same for loop, but I want to generate what? Random integers. So I have to give the ranges also. If I want to print from 1 to 100, let us take 1 to 100. I want to take some random numbers. So just I have to write range of 1, 100, and I'm going to print what? Random of int. So what it is going to give? It is going to print random number. Random number or numbers? Random numbers. 1 minute. Right. Sorry, random int. Oh, sorry. It is a rand int, not random int. I have written random int. So that one is what? Rand int. So observe this one. What we are going to get? Once again, we are going to get an error. Oh, sorry. As it is a random int, directly I can take here. Just what I have to specify means here, see, random int is having two, what we can say, arguments. So just I will write rand int of, just I will take two values from 1, 100. Directly I can take. It is going to give me the output as an individual integer, where it can give 1 or it can give 100 or it can give the values in between the 1 and 100 also. That means 1 and 100 are inclusive. Okay. So see, once again I'm going to print. If I print, so it's going to generate what? Random integer it is going to print. I can't predict which output is going to be generated because it is going to generate what? Random integer. If I take any number of times, it's going to generate random numbers only. Next, if I want, there is one method called as uniform method. If I'm going to use uniform function, it is going to generate a random floating point numbers between a specified range. But in the case of first random, what? Within the range of 0 and 1 only, it is going to give the values. But if I want to take from specified range, that is uniform of, I will take from 10, 20, I am going to take two values. So it is giving me some random floating point value. If I change the values, for example, I want to take from 40 to 80, for example. So I'm going to get what? Some 48.60 I am going to get. That means if you want to generate a floating point, random floating point number between any specified range, then I have to use a function called as uniform. Next, as we have seen the range concept, in the same way I'm having a rand range. That means want randomly the range. In here we are going to have three parameters. Just I will show that function here. See here, rand range is there, start is there, stop is there, step is there. Okay, so it's a method of random instance. Choose a random item from the range. That means whatever the range here we are going to give, it is going to choose the random item. So let us take one small example here. I am going to take from 1, 25. I'm going to take, for example. So it is going to give me what? Randomly it is going to generate one number and it is going to give me, okay, rand range. Now I want to take 1 to 25 and step as 2. It may give some other value. Here I can also take step as 2. Directly if I give only one value for this random range, just I will give 10. So again what happens? The range means what? 0 to 9 it is going to consider and we are going to get the output. Okay. Next. Observe carefully. I will explain about this one. 0 to 10 I will take. 0 to 10 I will take. Now what will be our output means? It will be one of the 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 only. Reason is what I have written what? Step as 2. Whatever the values I have said here, that is what? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. One of the value is going to be generated as output. Observe that it is 4. Once again if you print, it is going to 0. Once again if you are going to print it, it is going to 0. Random number, I can't expect. So once again I'm going to take, it is going to give you 8. It will not give 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. Observe the case. If I print n number of times also, it is going to give only the values. Those are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 only. Okay, randomly it is going to generate. Reason is I have written what? Step as 2. If I write step as 2, it is going to consider which values? 0. Second step means what? 2. That means 0. After 0, one step means 1. Second step means 2. From 2, what is the second step? First step means, one step means 3. Second step means 4. So that what happens? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 is going to be selected because the numbers are from what? Only up to 10. Not 10 is not going to be inclusive. It is going to up to 9 only. Okay. This is about the concept of rand range. In the same way, we are having the choice. Here choice is not going to return any random number. It will return a random object. So let us see about that choice here. We are having choice here. That let us see here. Choice. You can observe that function here. See what it is going to give. It is going to choose a random element from non-empty sequence. That means whatever the sequence you are going to give from that sequence it is going to give you. Okay, right, let us see one small example for that. Right, now see, I'm going to write from random, I want to import all. So just I am going to take a list of names here. Let us take some Shiva, and I'm going to take some Ram, and I'm going to take some Hari. I'm going to take 3 names, for example. So for I in range of 10, I am going to take, for example, right now I want to print choice of list. Choice of list I am going to take. So what it is going to give me? It is going to give me any one from that. So first, so how many times it is going to take? I have written here range as 10. First time one random value is taken, second time one random value is taken, third time one random value is taken, and so on. That means if you want to take any random element from the set of values that are specified by you, here who is going to specify group of values? Myself. In my program I am going to specify. So for that I am going to take what? I am going to take choice. Let us take here, I am going to write some name. Let us see what happens if I write some choice of Shiva. If I write, so observe that what it is going to give. In Shiva it is going to take random character. Observe that here Shiva is going to consider what? Shiva is a sequence. It is, which is nothing but a string. String is nothing but what? Sequence of characters. It is one sequence. From that sequence it is going to select any one of the random character. As we have seen list here, from list what happens? It is going to take any one of the value from the list. But in this sequence what it is going to take? Any one of the value it is going to take. That means any individual character is going to be selected. So in next session I will show you one better example for this one, how OTP can be generated. Okay, otherwise just it will take 2 to 3 minutes. Just I will execute the program here. Just it takes 2 or 3 lines of code. So here I'm going to take one in range of 10. I want to get 6-digit, what I can say, OTP here. So for that I will write, I can write one value, that is rand int of. I want to generate random integer from 6 digits, no, from 000002. I can write 99999. So 6 digit we got. Okay, I want to generate randomly the values. So see, different random numbers are generated here. But if you observe one thing here we got what? 5 digit only we got. Is it correct? It is wrong. So this logic is wrong. Reason is what? This value is what? 0. 0 to this one means it can take 1 also as an output. Okay, so that this is not a correct logic to print what we can say OTP. So for that I can write what? Observe carefully. Just I will take 6 different digits. First, random int of. First digit can be what? 0 to 9. Next, how many digits should be there? 6 digits will be there in our OTP, for example. So 6 times I will write this one. So Control V, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now observe. So what we are going to have? I am getting different OTPs now. We will get correct output now. So to generate a OTP also we can write in this way. So this is the concept of random module. In that we have seen some of the important functions. So in next session we are going to see the concept of packages. It will take nearly 15 to 20 minutes. After that we are going to see the concept of exception handling, which is very important concept. Okay, thank you.